Carol, the Tea Party. I imagine that from a purely political, strategic point of view, it has a different impact on the Republican Party than the Democratic Party. So how do both parties contend with this growing movement?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, we talk about it in as a movement, and giving it the sense that it is a unitary effort, you know, that we've got everybody inside that movement who thinks alike. But we don't. We have a movement that is grassroots-led, comes up from the bottom, and as a result, there are lots of different things that it's going to do, because there are going to be lots of different ideas inside it about what to do. Some people are going to want to be an adjunct to the Republican Party. Some people are going to want to try and influence both political parties. Some are going to see themselves as sort of an educational movement, a persuasion movement designed to keep the feet of politicians in both parties to the fire about these issues of spending deficit and health care. But you know, it's going to be interesting to watch how it plays out, because being a grassroots-led movement, we sometimes are going to confuse the most visible for being the most representative, and in reality, that may not be true.
Are the Democrats sort of wise? I mean, I think that people consider the Tea Party more as an offshoot or a bigger issue for the Republican Party. So are the Democrats sort of wise to sort of, you know, encourage the Tea Party movement to the extent that it divides the Republican Party and sort of dilutes it and makes it more of a problem for the Republican Party to manage?
I think that's tactically how they're viewing it, but they're making a mistake. Let's think about it this way. Here's the Tea Party movement. The movement itself is the expression of a broader thing, and that thing is the Tea Party sentiment. What we have here are a large number of Americans who feel, as the Tea Party represents, deeply about issues of deficit, debt, and spending, but a minority of those people actually associate themselves with the movement. So the Democrats mistake the movement, the smaller part, for representing everything that there is about the Tea Party. And that sentiment is bigger. That's why, for example, independents voted for Republicans in the November 2010 election by a 59-38 margin. That's a big gap. It's 24-point swing from where independents were 2 years ago, and a 36-point swing from where they were in the last midterm election. And I think a large part of that was being driven by the Tea Party sentiment, not just simply the movement itself, but the sentiments that have given rise to the Tea Party. So if the Democrats encourage the Tea Party, try and poke it, prod it, belittle it, make fun of it, they are in essence picking an argument with a bunch of people who used to vote for them, at least in the congressional elections in 06 and the presidential election in 08, but didn't vote for them on 010. And by doing so, the Democrats may actually provoke a lot of those people into remaining in opposition in 2012.
Well, you say that the sentiment is deficit, debt, and spending. Cutting spending is a sentiment of the Tea Party. How does that differ from sort of the old school Republicans? I mean, isn't that sort of what the Republicans, advocate, so to the extent that they aren't now, that they have strayed? And this is just the Tea Party trying to get the Republican Party back into their old ideology, their purpose.
Well, that assumes that their principal focus is on the Republican Party. I think that the Tea Party movement has grown out of a distrust of both political parties, and what they're looking for are candidates more than a party who will represent their views. And so, yeah, they may have supported Republican candidates last fall because they found more Republican candidates who agreed with their views than they did Democrats, but they aren't exactly enamored of the Republican Party. And therein lies the problem for Republicans, because these are people that want to see results. And if they don't see results, they could go back to their normal voting habits, which for a lot of those independents, at least in the two previous elections, was Democrat, or they could sit on the sidelines. Remember, the 2010 congressional off-year elections has the highest percentage of voting-eligible population turning out to vote since 1982. And a lot of those are people who are driven to the polls by these Tea Party sentiments, and if they don't see action, then they may retreat into inactivity again.